Hi, my name is Laura, also known as Sleep Nurse UK. I am a paediatric nurse and also a certified sleep consultant. And today I thought I would answer all your questions about working with a sleep consultant. So earlier this week, I popped a post up on my Instagram asking for all your questions, anything and everything to do with working with a sleep consultant, and I'm going to dive right in and answer them today. So I've tried to group some of the questions together if they sort of overlapped. So the first question I got answered was, how long does it take? So this does vary, and the reason it varies is because I work with little ones from about 4 months of age all the way up to about 6.5 years old. And depending on the age of the child, depending on the sleep concern, and also depending on the method of sleep training that we use, these can all impact the length of time it takes. The age of the child is also quite significant, because if you think an older child, say 5 or 6 year old, they might have had that sleep habit or sleep concern for a number of years. And for that reason, it can take that little bit longer. Whereas for smaller children, they maybe haven't had that sleep concern for that longer period of time. So it can make it that little bit easier to just get new skills and new habits in place. Now, I offer a 3-week package with all my families. And I have found, after working with lots of different families, with lots of different sleep concerns, within those 3 weeks, no matter what the age of the child, we will see quite a significant change in sleeping habits. Now, for some children, I have seen that change happen within the first couple of nights of working with me. For other children, we've seen progress, but it's been slow progress. So at about 10 nights, we've seen more of an improvement, and then it's building on that. Normally, for any child, as soon as we hit that 3-week mark, there is enough of an improvement for then parents to feel confident to then continue to put that sleep plan in place. We've sort of laid that really great foundation. And I think when I work with families, I never just want it to be a quick fix, especially with older children, because they've had those sleep habits normally for a longer period of time. Whilst you can put change in place, sometimes what can happen is it's oh so easy for things to come undone and for things to then go back to how they were. So I always make sure that we've got something in place that is going to make lasting change, not just for a couple of nights, not just for a week, really for the rest of that child's life. So I grouped the next couple of questions together because they were quite similar. So I've got, will my baby cry? Is it gentle? And will it harm my baby? So will my baby cry? The answer to this is yes, probably. And there's a reason for that. And that is because we are changing something. So your little one will probably have their own way of falling to sleep, of linking their sleep cycles. And the whole purpose of working really with a sleep plan is to change that. It's to mold it into something that fits the child, so the child is well rested, takes away any of that anxiety around going to sleep, and it works for the family. And that is why sometimes a little bit of crying is to be expected. Now, it's important to note that your child won't be crying because we are harming the child in any way. All the plans that I use are responsive and gentle. So we are always making sure that your child feels safe, feels secure, they're not left for long periods of time, they are fed, they are changed, they're not in any pain. All those basic needs are being met. And that is why it is not harmful. And I think it's always really important to be very open and honest with parents that there might be some crying. But again, it's looking at the cause of that crying. So we're not inflicting any harm. We are always ensuring little one is safe. And really, all these different elements are built in the plan. So you as a parent feel comfortable and you feel confident in the plan and how you are putting it into practice every night. You have also got my support every step of the way, where we can troubleshoot, we can tweak. If certain aspects aren't working quite right, we can change maybe different components. We're always making sure that we're doing it in a gentle and responsive manner. Is it gentle? I feel like I've just answered that. Will it harm my baby? And I think that's a common concern for a lot of parents. I think you Google sleep consulting and you see all the good, the bad, and the ugly. There is no research to date there is no research whatsoever that states that gentle and responsive sleep training is harmful. As I said earlier, we're doing it in a responsive way, and that's the key. We're making sure that all those other needs are being met, and we do it in a way that it is so suited to that child. So say, for example, we had a co-sleeping little one who was constantly breastfeeding during the night. Now, if that is working for the family, keep on doing it. If it's not working for that family, I then wouldn't expect that little one to suddenly go into their own cot and not have any feeds overnight. That would be unfair on the child and also mum, and she's probably going to feel quite engorged as well if she was used to breastfeeding regularly. So just to give that as an example, it really wouldn't be going from here to all the way over here. We will be looking at what steps we can take in between here and here, and also ensuring mum is happy at every stage, that baby is happy. It's more of a gentle path to get to that end result. And as I say, that really depends on how parents feel about different parts of sleep training. It's such an individual and tailored approach. So the next couple of questions, again, I grouped these together because they were quite similar. So how much is the service? What do you get with the sleep consultancy package? And will you come and see me face to face? So I'm always a bit reluctant to put the actual price on here because obviously things do change. If I am going to become famous and have my own Amazon Prime series, I might put my prices up. For the moment, they have stayed the same, and they have been the same since I qualified as a sleep consultant. If you head on over to sleepnurse.uk, you can find the full price there. That is inclusive of that, and you can also pay in 3. So what do you get with that? So to start off with, we have a call, which I do with any potential clients, really looking at your child's current sleep patterns and where you want to get to. And the purpose of that call is really for me to get as much information from you as I possibly and also for parents to see if I'm a good fit for their child and themselves. I really feel like when you work with a sleep consultant, it's such a leap of faith because you don't know me personally. So it's nice to get a feel for if you feel you're going to trust me, trust my judgment, trust my experience, and that I fit well with your values and how you want to deal with the current sleep concern. Following on from that, you get sent an assessment. This is a form that you fill in online, and we really look more closely at your child's health and development. And it's really important for me to know if there's anything underlying that may be causing a sleep concern. And I think that's really where my background as a paediatric nurse really comes into its own there. Because I want to know, is there anything else going on that I need to be aware of? And also things like reflux or allergies, they will all really shape how I pull together a sleep plan. From there, I will develop a sleep plan. I am going to be looking at your parenting style, your child's personality, and it's not just a sleep plan you get. So I look at your routine, your naps, their sleep environment. I make sure everything is optimum for this sleep plan to work. And then once we set a date for the sleep plan to start, you will get 3 weeks of support. So I will be WhatsApping you. We will have calls together. I'm really there every step of the way. I can't tell you how invested I get with families because I want it to work for them. And so I want to do everything I possibly can to make that plan successful. Now, as I said earlier, the length of time it takes to work does vary, but with all the families that I've worked with so far, within that 3-week period, we see huge change. So I do that for 3 weeks. Even if we see change quite quickly, it's making sure that change is sustainable. Now, with my plan, you get call credit. So you get 90 minutes of call credit, and I tend to suggest we use about an hour of that in those first 3 weeks. So maybe half an hour at 10 days, another half an hour, maybe about 15, 17 days. And then you've got that extra call credit that you can use at any point within those first 6 months. And I find that so useful for the families that I work with because things change. There might be a holiday, there might be a new sibling, a house move, your little one might be teething or weaning, and just knowing that you've got that support can make all the difference and can help navigating those little things that little bit. So next question. Will you come to see me face to face? No. It's not, I don't need to physically examine your child in order to do a sleep plan. The person that knows your child the best is you, is the parent. So it's the parent that I really want to gain all that information from. So I use a video consultation. If there was a parent who really didn't like that style, I certainly would consider meeting you in person. But for all the families that I've worked with so far, we've been able to do it over video, and I am able to make that assessment of the sleep through what parents tell me and through that online assessment form that I just mentioned. So what type of sleep concerns do you deal with? Anything and everything. So just to give you a few examples, I have worked with little ones who have waked persistently through the night. So a little one who was maybe about 6 months and couldn't link their sleep cycles. So they co-slept with mum and would breastfeed constantly throughout the night. That wasn't working for the mum. Mum was absolutely exhausted. Little one was tired as well, wasn't napping in the day. So we completely transformed that little one's sleep, and little one went into their own room. And then actually, once we put all these different things in place, slept through. So we didn't actually need those feeds. It was more of that they needed the feed at that time to link their sleep cycles. I've also worked with older children who would refuse to go to bed. have a high level of anxiety going to bed, and then would wake up frequently wanting to get into parents' bed. So it's great to work with older children because I can do videos for them, get them involved in different tasks to really alleviate that anxiety about bedtime, and get them in their own sort of sleep environment, feeling reassured and confident that they can do it. I've also worked with little ones who wake early, so we can class anything as early waking as 6 a.m. and earlier. This particular little one was waking up at 4 a.m. every single morning, and you can imagine the impact on the family. And we successfully put a range of different strategies in place, and little one managed to then stay in bed asleep until 6 a.m. So that was just life changing for that family. And I think you can probably tell by how I'm explaining it, it's not just one thing I put in place. It's not, oh, here's your plan, do this when they wake up. Because sleep, we all do it every night, but it's such a complex thing, and it's, for a lot of children, it's mixed in with emotions, how they feel about going to sleep, particularly older children. So it's putting different strategies in place that all come together that then make sure that that plan is effective. So I've got a question here. Isn't it natural for babies to wake in the night? Yes, it is definitely natural for little ones to wake in the night. Now, I know there is such a wide range for waking in the night. So I qualified as a paediatric nurse 21 years ago now. I also used to be a health visitor, and I have worked with hundreds of families, and I have seen hundreds of different ways to parent, different ways of sleeping. Obviously, small, they need to wake in the night. They need the extra calories. That is normal. That's a normal part of development. As they get older, it really varies from family to family. So I know some 4-month-olds that don't feed in the night. I know some 3-year-olds who still wake up in the night and maybe have a breastfeed. It really does vary so much. And at the foundation of what I do is, if it's working for you and your family, keep on doing it and don't let anybody else tell you otherwise. If it's not working for you, that is when we can put some responsive and gentle sleep training in place. Sleep trained or maybe don't have a sleep concern, there will be other reasons that they wake in the night. So maybe they might be unwell, they might have a high temperature, they might be thirsty, they might be too hot, too cold, they might just want a cuddle that night. I would never say to a parent, right, once you're sleep trained, your child will never ever wake in the night, because that is just not realistic, and that's not having an understanding of really child development and their needs. So there are always times that your child may wake in the night, but when I work with families, it's making sure we've got a consistent sleep foundation, that no matter what else happens, that child feels confident and reassured at all times, and is able to link sleep cycles so that it works for the child and for the family. So the next question I have is, I've tried everything already. What are you going to do differently? And I think that's such a good question to ask. And with some of the families that I work with, they will say, oh, I've tried maybe the disappearing chair technique. I have tried pick up, put down, nothing is working. And as I mentioned earlier in the video, the key thing with working with a sleep consultant is I bring so much more than just a sleep plan. I am looking at your child's personality. I am looking at their sleep environment, routine, naps. And all of those things are such key pieces in the puzzle when you are working to gently mold a child's sleep. You might have Googled it, you might have got a plan online, but it's so much more than that, and I really tailor my plans to any specific child. And again, and you're also getting that one-to-one support. You're getting that expert guidance from me. No matter what happens, we can tailor it, we can tweak it. You are getting your own sort of little personal cheerleader to keep you on track. And I really do feel that that makes all the difference. I tried to sleep train my youngest little boy when he was about 10 months because we really struggled with his sleep. I got a plan that I got together off Google, and I failed miserably on the second night because he cried so much and I felt like I was putting him through unnecessary upset, and I just didn't know what I was doing. So it was a completely failed attempt. And fast forward now to my work as a sleep consultant, and I can completely see where I went wrong, because it's really being confident in what you're doing so you can apply it. And it's also getting a plan that is tailored to your child, so not something that is in a book or your friend's done, because sleep is so individual. And that was another question, can I just Google it? So my honest answer is you probably could, but if it'd be successful or not would be another matter. And I'm sure there's some families out there who have Googled it, put something in place and it's worked. But for a lot of the families that I work with, it's so much more than just following a plan. It's, as I say, it's that personalised, tailored sleep plan that's going to make all the difference. And the final question I've got, what if it doesn't work? I've not worked with a single family so far where it hasn't worked. And I think that is because I take so much time in my assessment, in chatting on a one-to-one basis, that I'm gathering so much information that really informs what sort of plan I'm going to use, what different strategies I'm going to put into place, that really it can't fail, because I am looking at everything to do with sleep. I'm using all that knowledge of sleep, how to maximize it, child development, bringing all those things together to make sure that the families I work with, it's successful. We get them from where they are now to where they want to be. So I hope that answered everybody's questions. If you have got any more questions, please feel free to drop me an email. I will put my email in the box below. You can find me across social media as Sleep Nurse UK. Feel free to drop me a DM. And if you are thinking of working with me, you can book one of those completely free 30-minute calls that I talked about earlier. I'll pop the link in below. There you will find access to my diary. You can book yourself in at a day and time that suits you. If you can't see anything that suits you, send me a message and I will see what I can do. And hopefully we can get maybe a weekend or evening call if that suits you better. And again, as I said earlier, that call is looking at your child's sleep now, where you want to get to, and for me to get as much information as possible and to see if I am a good fit for you and your family. So if you are considering it, I would love to hear from you. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next week. Bye.